All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's. What are we? This is our weekend show, our broiler chicken show. Thought I'd just keep it in-house. I've been busy talking to people back east all morning, so I haven't really been paying too much attention to the market here. But thought since it is Sunday and we are cryptonauts trading 24/7, I thought I'd touch base with the community. And just see how everybody's doing. I see we have a relatively thin room here this morning, so we might see people pile in as we go through here. But yeah, well, you know what's weird though is I kind of feel like maybe more like 2014 feels really a lot like 2014. But interestingly enough, we still have quite a few members on the site here. I don't know whether you guys can see that number. So little surprised. Usually I like to see this number get down to maybe like under 100 or so on a regular basis, and then we kind of know that the market's washed out. A lot of the looky-loos, the people that really aren't professional traders that, join the site. Hey, I'll pay this guy $30. It's a rip-roaring bull market. Let's see where the hell this thing goes, right? And then once that euphoria sort of comes off, I've noticed that these numbers are slowly dwindling down. And I see a number of people that are saying, well, I thought trading was for me, but I see that actually markets don't always go straight up, so I'd like to cancel my membership, please. Doesn't really surprise me, and that's running a business of trading, especially in the stock market. Used to see this year in, year out. It's no accident that they do things like the Black Friday sales to try and lock people in for a year or so, because usually that's when the market's the shittiest, right? So they're desperate for sales. And then the shill, the typical seasonal shill. Everybody's feeling rich and rah gung-ho into the spring and summer and stuff. Of course, that's when the stock market guys are ringing the register and they head off to the Hamptons after that. So coming out of the end of the year, we had sort of a bit of a funny little altcoin rally there to be, the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. I think if anything right now, I like to just throw on sort of a list of hot coins, ones that I see moving, and just watch the price performance here. And I think, if anything, the thing that you should take away from this is that price momentum. You can see a lot of sort of, consolidations, prices trying to break out, but there's something that's kind of missing from this equation. And that is, like a lot of these names, there just isn't that much buying interest on these moves here over the weekend. It's just not that much interest. And unfortunately, this is where a lot of the new people to trading really get trapped. Is, like if we look at this SC, for example, we've been working on the site for quite some time. And if you come to daily briefs, right, you should get this general message. We can clearly see where the bottom is on a name like this. And if we start drawing things like, market structure levels and stuff, fibs, the interesting thing, I would highly encourage all of you guys, if you want to just throw on the Leprechaun levels. We're seeing a lot. You see how the 88.6 is lining up perfectly with this structural level and that tail in there. What I see a lot happens in the market is that people will buy this and they'll be like, fucking A, man, this was great, awesome money. And then we go into this period, and this is it sucks, because it's almost like our human brains are built to sabotage us. As we have to understand how we're sort of built to survive on the savannah. Like 100,000 years ago or whatever, in our sort of really basic construction of this human species. And it was really important for us on the savannah to stay focused and to stay, like if we're on the hunt, trying to hunt down like a woolly mammoth or something, and to just keep hunting and keep fighting and keep striving and keep going and keep hunting and hunting and hunting and hunting. And the interesting thing with us psychologically is that, and I think, if you haven't, it's a really good idea, especially if you're a relatively new member to this site, to go and watch these human psychology videos, especially Dr. Menaker, because in essence, these people, psychiatrists, they actually pick apart the brain chemistry and what actually happens to us humans at different points in this sort of hunter-gatherer kind of, thinking process. And it turns out, like I said a moment ago, that we are actually rewarded through here to stay focused and to stay patient and to stay diligent. And our brain continues to give us drugs that both make us feel good and keep us focused. The problem here, though, is that, and hopefully it makes sense to you guys, does it really make sense psychologically after we've hunted down this woolly mammoth and we've killed it? Does it make sense for our human brains to continually want us to keep hunting and stalking and fighting and stuff? And ironically enough, they actually did studies on this. It's actually not in our best interests. And the human brain, by definition, once the kill has happened, that sort of incentivizing drug, and I think it's called dopamine, if I'm not mistaken, that fix gets cut off. And what's really ironic about this is that we don't get any reward for actually killing. And if you think about the African savannah, it makes a heck of a lot of sense, right? Because if we were, given a reward on the kill, then we would just be mass murderers and we'd just go around killing, right? Because it's looking for that fix. So in a weird sort of way, way to go, Steve, you made it into the Hangout. In a weird sort of way, we are actually physiologically built to undermine ourselves as capitalists and as traders. Because what ends up happening is as we're focused and we're hunting and we're rocking and rolling and then the trade starts working, right? As soon as we start actually ringing the register and forcing ourselves to take profits wherever this is, that fix gets cut off. And the irony of it all is when you actually ring the register and you see your account balance go up, ding, ding, you just made 50%, 75% on your money, whatever, we get no fix at all. Nothing. And in a weird sort of way, and some of you that have been trading me with me for a while, probably Kevin's seen this, maybe Daniel, maybe Garrett. I would be willing to bet Wayne to a certain degree. It'd be interesting to see if Wayne's got there yet. I bet that you actually find that when you actually ring the register and you take profits, it's actually a very hollow feeling. It's ironic, it's odd about this game, but you have to understand that this is the way the human psychology works, or not psychology, like physiology. So with that said, what usually ends up happening, exactly, Daniel, that's actually a really good way of saying it. Daniel said it's like, now what, right? You're just sort of left there, just, what the hell just happened? Oh, I just made money. Okay, great. Way to go. Twiddling your thumbs, that kind of thing, right? And your brain, of course, is undermining you. Your brain is saying, I want that fix. I want that fix. Keep hunting, keep hunting, keep hunting. And you end up forcing yourself, not because of out of like good trade reasons, but just simply out of that desire for that chemical fix in your brain, you end up like chasing ideas here where if you sat down and you looked at the chart and you're like, gee whiz, Brian told me eons ago, I'm not allowed to touch anything unless it's at or below the reload zone. So you pull up charts like this and you get this nice up day. And, you look at the quote screen, you go, oh, right, let's see what kind of percentage this is, right? This thing's up 7.75%. And keep in mind, most of the public, this is the only thing that they see. They go, well, 389 up 28. Well, fucking A, man, looks good. Let's go buy it, right? Looking for that fix of, yeah, I'm hunting, I'm stalking, but is it really such a good idea to be loading up right here? I don't know. So really important, just simple message for everybody in this community. I still kind of think we're in kind of like no man's land right now. This is extremely dangerous. And as I said, the way that we can validate that, yeah, this stuff is rocking and rolling and maybe we should be hunting trend continuation trades, bots, that kind of thing, is let's go look down at our indicators. And I think if anything right now, what we should be really focused on is if we're hunting bots, we want to see volume confirmation. Volume speaks volumes. And in this particular case, you can see heavy volume breakout, heavy volume, right? OBV's rocking and rolling, heavy volume. And then, yeah, what the fuck, right? Where did all the people that were all gung-ho, big bulls, where did they go? And the issue here, just simply put, is we have to be damn patient. We have to be disciplined, and you just got to simply cool your jets. This might take some time to unwind, guys. I'm not saying it's going to happen in a day. I'm not saying it's going to happen in a week. The irony of it all is I don't even think it's in any of your interest to put a stopwatch on this. It will happen when it happens. Yeah, interesting side note. Somebody was, we're working on building out this new site, and somebody had suggested adding a trades per month calculator and sort of a speedometer. And I actually overtly said, I think that's a bad idea. I don't think it's a good idea for you to force yourself to be taking trades. You only should trade when the market tells you to trade. And, like the great part about some of our community, like our crypto gap hunters, I have it. This guy right here. I don't know. Maybe the market's just going to tease me. I worked my bid at this gap. I got another bid working at this gap. I might get a fill here. Then this thing might just drift away from the gap and I don't do anything. But I'm not going to force trades to meet some sort of monthly quota or I have to take X amount of trades. That's just asking for trouble, guys. So I just wanted to start off today's offering with just a comment that I don't think we're in sort of, all right, this is easy. We're gonna make a shitload of money, kind of like this. Do you guys remember a month or two ago? I hope you guys all remember this. I remember doing these videos and saying, you could just go and randomly pick 20 coins and just buy them, and into the spring you're gonna make a pile of money. Does anybody remember that? I mean, I specifically said that day after day after day. Now, the important thing here, guys, is we are not in that kind of environment right now. We're not. It's as simple as that. We are not in that environment. These are very different environments. So, if you want to wait for Brian to go, you could just go buy fucking 20 of these things randomly and you'll make money. Great. If you want to make that your trading plan and, you're not going to be doing anything for the next 3 or 4 months, that's fine. I was really, really impressed. We had one student last summer who took the course and, through the last summer, and he listened to me about seasonality and the point that the market usually bottoms in October, November, December, buy when it snows, blah, blah, blah. And he just said, well, okay, it's the middle of the summer, Brian, but fuck it. I'll see you in October, November, December. And I was pretty damn impressed with him. I got to say, I was pretty impressed with that attitude. So where are we now? And I think, this is a pretty good example. I do believe we're kind of caught in no man's land here. We could very easily, right? The market's going to do any old damn thing it wants. We could very easily be doing AB equals CDs, hunting bot setups, and taking trades for this trend continuation. But if you are going to be hunting this kind of trade setup, looking for AB equals CDs, this is not little old lady investing. if you do decide to take this trade, and let's say, you know, I mean, we can just eyeball this here. What do we want? Template. Let's go bot setup. Boink. Ooh, just still valid. All right. Then we go throw our levels on. There we go. And let's go bot trade. And there's a 25. Now, hopefully all of you guys, we've been working with these models long enough. You look at this and go, oh, yeah, that makes pretty much sense. That's basically the same message Brian's been saying for the past 3.5, 4 years straight. You can see that the market structure is trying to set up off of here. But the bottom line here is, and ideally, if I wanted to take this, what I'd absolutely love to see here right now is a nice loop, and then a nice little loop, and then a nice little loop, right? Something like that. I think we're still a little bit early for us to get too raw bot trend continuation trade. And as we can see, you know, things like Willie, I mean, there's no W's here. There's nothing really to get too excited. So, you know, if we are going to be trend continuation trading, I think, you know, we still got to give this a little bit more time to develop. And the bottom line here is if you are taking bot setups and we fail through these lows, you have to get the fuck out. Sorry, it's just that simple. Don't mean to be rude. If that word grates with you, well, maybe you'll hear me. You have no choice. If you are trading things like trend continuation setups and they fail, you've got to walk away. You just have to. So with that said, I hope everybody understands the context of the market. I wouldn't be going to my little old ladies right now and saying, hey, I've got a really interesting idea for you. You want to go and grab a few % of your portfolio and we'll just buy it and don't worry about it. Frankly speaking, I could easily see this thing come all the way right back down there. And if that's the case, little old ladies are not going to be overly impressed. All right. So does that kind of help you guys here in the lounge? Does that help you understand the context of the market right at the moment? And, you know, all those level oneers and stuff, don't even think about the market. The market is an ass. We only want to be going and, you know, actually getting you guys, you know, new level oneers into the market when we get like nice solid W's and the indicators are Wing and we're in reload zones, all that kind of shit. All you level oneers, you current level oneers, you should be eating your vegetables right now, right? Just getting yourself, you know, set up for success. Start working on what does a trading plan look like? What does my trade log look like? Gee whiz, in the level 1 class right now, I am shocked at how many people are not doing the spreadsheet that I asked them to do. Just simply pick a trade. You want to trade this? Great, fine, boom. Merry Christmas. We're going to go and buy that level right there. We're going to, and then that's assuming that this silly trade tool works. I don't know why TradingView does this. Where the hell is it? I guess they just don't want me to work with it today. Look at that. What the fuck? That's like completely useless. Drives you nuts. Now I got to figure out how to fix this. Maybe that's the reason why the level oneers are having so much difficulty right now. TradingView's got this all fucked up. Let's see if I refresh this so it'll work. It was this one that we were working on, right? All right, let's see if this thing's working. There we go. Okay, where's our little trade metric? Did they get rid of it? Oh, let's try again. No. If you're like, oh, this looks like kind of fun. Oh no, it fucked us up again. I don't know what to do with this stupid thing. Why would they do this? What a mess. I don't even know how to fix this, to be honest with you. Stupid. See what happens. That work? Hey, there we go. Okay, so where was I? Once upon a time in a land far, far away. All right. So if you want to buy this, great, go buy it. I couldn't give a rat's ass. Right now, all you level oneers, I don't expect any of you to make any money with your trade ideas. That's not the point of what you should be doing right now. Right now, what you should be doing is, all right, I kind of like this idea. I heard lots of guys in chat room and stuff talking about it. So boom, Merry Christmas. You just went and bought it. Now, I think it's a good idea to use M's and W's and start thinking about M's and W's, but it's not that big of a deal breaker, guys. If you're like, well, you know, that looks like a low, I'll risk against there. All right, fine. I don't care. Just pick some sort of low to risk against. And then, like I said, and this is the most important exercise all you level oneers need to be working on, is you're going to pick whatever price it is that you're going to enter your trade at. And frankly speaking, I don't care if the trade idea works or not. You just, all right, this one looks good. Let's buy it. Let's risk against a low. All right, fine. Let's risk against here. And by definition, the process, you are going to force yourself to only take profits and when you see at least a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. If this is your trade idea, great, love it. Boom. Grab a screenshot, grab the address, and into your spreadsheet it goes. And that's it. That's the only thing I want you working on right now. Nothing else. Let's see. Sample spreadsheet. I think we have one over here. Right. We even did up a one for students. Right. And we did your first trade. Here was an example of a trade setup. Here was an example of a nanny nibbles. Right. Just going to buy against a bottom end of the range and sell half on a double. So, you know, we did the setup. Boom, boom. Right. Same sort of thing. We're going to risk a 2-to-1. We're going to determine our targets. So we know exactly where we're taking profits. Looks like it's 519. We are going to determine where our stop is based on our entry. Right? We say we're going to risk against this low. Perfectly fine. Doesn't really matter. 324. And we're going to say, let's call this, who should we pick? Steve. Steve said it's first time he was in here, so this is Steve's idea. No idea if this is going to work or not. Should I subscribe to Steve's newsletter? I don't know. And then finally, of course, where are we going to enter the trade? We decided to buy at 389, right? Ooh, look at that. We're already making money. Woohoo! Woohoo! All right, so does everybody see what I just did? Not rocket science. I'm not asking you to, fake the moon. What I'm asking you to do is learn the process. Done. At this point, our only job is just to see what the fuck is going to happen. Are we going to get stopped out? And are we going to record that we got stopped out and Steve's a loser? Are we going to record that our target was hit and we took profits where we were supposed to and Steve's the fucking shit? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Do you get where I'm going? Let's try the YouTubers. Any level oneers on the YouTube channel? Because I see there's like 17 people there. Mohammed, you're in the level 1 program, aren't you? Anyway, level oneers, this is what I just simply want you concentrating on now. And I don't really care whether your idea works or not. 2-to-1, where am I entering? What am I going to risk to? What's my target? And it's just that simple. I think it's a very good idea to track this as if this was a real trade. What I would prefer everybody do here for the first 20 trades, what would I recommend that you do? Did anybody read The Evolutionary Process of All Traders? You don't need to, Mohammed says, this is interesting. Mohammed's got an interesting point. But to be honest, I make my charts and positions and calculated P&L without trading. Not quite sure where you're going there, Mohammed. But let's talk more in class tomorrow about your thoughts, okay? If you have a specific question, just make sure to write it down and come to the group tutorials. And we have 2, Monday and Wednesday. But really, guys, at this point in your education, this is all I'm looking for. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Just can you learn how to record what you do in the market? Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So as I said, on balance, I'm not overly impressed with what I'm seeing out of price action here. All of these charts happen to have potential bot setups working. You can see them, see the W, right? If we draw the bot levels, you can see where your 25 entry level is. Look at this cute little consolidation. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, lots of lows, right? If you just simply draw your bot levels, you could probably see it. I do like the fact, like this one here, you can actually see some buyers actually came in and stepped up and bought. That's good, right? If you get these breakouts on like almost no volume here, like these, that's a bit suspicious. I'd be a little bit concerned there. And as I said before, if you are interested in taking trades right here, these are setups. I do not believe we are in sort of nanny nibbles, just buy it and don't stress about it environment right now. We are definitely in a trader's environment right now. And I could very easily see, we probably should talk about it as we go through the show here. I'm hearing more and more chatter about people shitting their pants over Tether. Frankly speaking, I wouldn't be surprised if, and what you guys have to realize, especially new people to this site and new people to trading and TRI, you have to understand we are on like literally the most cutting edge of venture capital. This is absolutely the highest risk, highest octane trading you can possibly do. I don't want to hear anybody hearing that they're gambling next month's rent on trade ideas. That's just stupidity. If you're strapped for money, my suggestion for you is go get a second job and work your fucking ass off. Get a trading stake where you know that your rent and your hydro and your food and your dependents, like your kids or your wife or your elderly mother or whatever that lives with you, and they are taken care of. Once that nut is met, then with the second job, if you have to go get a second job, so be it. Start building up some savings. And then with that money, $500, whatever, keep in mind, I started this crazy site just a couple of years ago. And, unfortunately, this old page, this is broken. I haven't even looked at what these totals are. Yeah, so this says here 449,000. I can tell you very comfortably the number's about 150,000 more than that, but that's here nor there. The point here is that we started this portfolio with $500, and the whole reason why we were able to work it up to this kind of number is simply because I didn't have to go in and worry about this money, having to pay my month's rent. I just let my money work for me. You have to understand this is an extremely speculative space. This shit goes up and down like a horse drawers. That's what venture capital is all about. I had one tutorial with a gentleman yesterday, and he was basically, almost suicidal at the fact that these markets have come back down, and he let a lot of the profits that he had in things like sell half on a double instead of selling all of it on the big blow off rally. He's all upset that he left some money on the table. You have to understand, guys, the reason why I do the sell half on a double is that this is what this plan is. That doesn't mean it's your plan. If you're the type of guy and you're like, Brian, on these rallies, it doubles, I'm going to take 100% profit and just book the profits. That's fine by me. It's whatever works for you. There isn't like this is the right way, that is the wrong way. I mean, obviously the process, we want to play from a position of strength. Don't take too much risk. Try and work with setups, yada, yada, yada. But as for profit taking, what a horrible situation to be in. Do I take 100% profits when I double my money? Or do I just take part profits, get my original capital back in my hand so I have free positions? I mean, hopefully you guys can appreciate there's a lot worse positions to be in life than that, right? A lot of people that play this game, oh, when am I ever going to see my original capital? I'm so dead. I'm so underwater. Oh, my God, I'm sleeping on the couch. Don't tell my wife what I did with the vacation money, yada, 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 right? So please understand, how you decide to ultimately take profits, that's in your hands, right? Really, what we want to teach on this course and this whole site is we need to make this plan really a reflection of you. We actually have to dig into what type of risk taker are you? What makes you happy? What makes bubbles come out of your nose? Like Casey's little cutie. I love that little picture. I'm glad, Casey, you actually put that back to that picture because I love looking down. It's so cool. But I can't tell you what works for you. Really, that's the whole point of taking the education program is we have to sort of figure out what the hell works for you. As I've told everybody here before, especially with regard to this portfolio, my main goal here was we want to be long crypto. And I saw quite a bit of upside potential in this space. And so I just simply built the plan, sell have on a double, keep it as simple as possible, try and own as much of this crypto space as possible, try and be as diversified as possible. As you can see, this we don't own to NTRN. That's the app is broken here, which sucks. But anyway, that's here nor there. But to be trying to be as diversified as possible and just own a little bit of everything. And as a result, I think our strategy's paid off because this is what I was expecting to happen in this space. But what you have to understand, guys, is this is me. This is not you. We have to figure out what works for you. If you want to do this, and you're selling halves on doubles, but then you're like, fuck, man, I should have sold everything up top. That's not the kind of guy I am. I like to get out at the top and sell everything and then just hit the reset button 6 months later and start all over again. Great. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, that's really a function about you, not Brian. Okay. Oh, boy. Really wanted to hit that point. Sorry, guys. What do we say? Probably a couple comments on this tether that we should probably just touch on. I'm feeling like, it kind of sucks, but I'm feeling like we're kind of overdue for a scandal. And I was actually quite pleased. We had the Big Connect. I think that's what it was called, right? That scandal unwind. And I think that's good. It's healthy. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. We don't want to see the public get, bitch slapped. But nonetheless, you actually have to have those kind of scandals to just sort of wash out the market, hit the reset button, and then we can do it all over again. I was a little dismayed when I heard that Japanese exchange was hacked. And I don't know whether you guys saw, but they're actually saying that the hack is quite a bit larger than what was previously reported. We're now upward north of $500 million. So we're now starting to make that Gawk scandal look a little bit small in comparison. One thing, though, that I did see that really impressed me was that the exchange themselves actually came out and said that we're going to give everybody 85 cents on the dollar for those people that lost their coins. And I actually think that is what launched the market up here yesterday. We've been talking about, this fractal pattern that fired a few days ago. I was super jazzed about that. My hunch is that as this fractal fired, that people in the know sort of knew what was going on there, and they kind of got the impression that things were going to be handled okay. The market literally jumped up, and now hopefully everybody can see this has actually created a cute little W on the charts. Down, up, down, up. Now, is there anything we are interested in alphabet-wise, letter-wise, that would maybe change our impression of the trend, right? And the answer is W's, right? All you level oneers. If you level oneers right? Practicing the process. God, this Brian's such a fucking pain in the ass with his goddamn process talk. It's killing me. If you want to simply say, I'm going to buy this W, I'm going to risk to a break of this W. And by definition, that means I'm going to take profits at this level right here, right? 1280.20 to a 2-to-1 risk reward. Grab a screenshot, write the levels in your database, your spreadsheet, and go. It's just that simple. All I care is I just want you to practice. Doesn't look like that bad of a trade. Yeah, I mean, on balance, right? A trader's got to trade. We could argue, what's really interesting about this is especially wicks and tails. We could make the argument, we have one site member, Steven, who's just a fucking harmonic just shark. The guy's just, it's so beautiful watching his harmonics. Anyway, one level that he loves to hunt for is the 113. So ironically enough, you could actually make the argument that this 113 level is definitely a trade location for some harmonic traders. Absolutely. And then, wicks and tails like to be eaten. We've talked about, horizontal support and resistance. And if anything, do we have any level 2ers? China Tim, you're a level 2er. Casey, you're a level 2er, aren't you? You see that this is basically a direct correlation of what we just did in class yesterday. You see how we could go and put our horizontal support and resistance lines off of all of these lows? And gee whiz, look what happened. Do-do-do-doosh. Bounce. Do you see how that works, guys? Do you see how that's a direct application of what we just did yesterday? So, and Kevin, you're now level 3, aren't you? Are you level 2? No, you're level 3 now, aren't you? Yeah. So, Kevin worked on this a few months ago. So, and we've talked about this in daily briefs and stuff. Look left. Can everybody see how when we lost this level here, right? This is basically no man's land all the way down to here. So market comes down into here, right? And then bounce right away. What's really cool too here is we're getting some really interesting coiling action in momentum. And I put out tweets the other day off of this fractal. I just simply said, okay, we've got fractal. It's not the best trade location, but it isn't bad. This is actually something that the level 2ers did yesterday too. Do you see how this is a Ron Jeremy setup where we have 1 high, 2 highs, and this is a fantastic example of why you never take a trade at a trend line. Market goaded people into thinking that it was a bull, and then the next damn day, boom, right back down to the trend line. So here, really good example of Ron Jeremy. You're going to let the market break the trend line and then just simply take the first structural signal following the trend line break. So that's a Ron Jeremy setup as well. So we were talking about momentum. Again, Brian loves W's. Got a nice, cute little W here. And we're right at a very, very significant pivot point here. If we can come up and close above here and basically validate this double bottom, and RSI can come and close and print above this high right here. Specifically, I like to follow a very fast moving average. So if your default RSI setting is to 14 and your levels look a little differently than mine, just understand I like to speed the RSI up. But nonetheless, off of this 7-period RSI, that number 47.8. And of course, we talk lots in length in the course program about the importance of just the midpoint of these oscillators. So really what's going to happen here is if we do close above this level, then in essence, that's the market telling us that, hey, I'm a bear below 50. And of course, look at the price action. And if we can accept back above 50, well, that means I'm back feeling like a bull, which is pretty good. That's not bad. The issue here, of course, is, what's realistic upside expectations? Level 1ers, you will learn this down the road, but I would argue that the simplest tool you can possibly use to determine profit objectives is a good old 50% rule. So isn't it interesting how the 50% rule off of this entire range just so happens to line up nicely with that trend line tag? Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't. And, if I was using price objectives on any kind of rally, I had to, we were talking in the lounge last night and stuff, and I had just simply said, look, you could trade this massive W, but really what I want you thinking if you're going to take this really big one is 2-to-1s. And I know a lot of people are like, wow, but that seems awfully hot. Yeah, if you want. I think it's always, you guys probably heard this expression from me before. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. That's why we like to use the 50% rule as the targeting tool. All you level oneers, if you want to add this, great. But we'll get to this in good time. We have lots and lots of time to explore this. But the point of the matter here is it makes a heck of a lot of sense to me if we did get a nice little dead cat bounce counter trend rally up into, say, 14.5, somewhere in that area on stamp. As well, too, a couple of interesting things that sort of jumped out at me here. Let's see if I have them on these charts. I don't think I have them here. Where did I put that? Put it around here somewhere. Here it is. For those short-term momentum players, it's kind of cool. W in Willie with a W in OBV is what we call our Davos signal. And Davos really are quite consistent at producing 2-to-1s. So my hunch is off of this W, if this does confirm here, we'd really like, remember I said earlier about, the altcoins, where the fuck are the buyers? We'd really like to see some buyers step up here. Right now, this is still a bit suspicious. And you can see OBV hasn't quite W'd here. It's trying to, but it hasn't come in. And this, unfortunately, is a great anecdote of trader's life. You can't assume that this is going to W. You never know. Halfway through the day here, price could just totally crap out and this thing just break right down. As well, we're big fans of momentum divergences. You can see how the market has made a lower low here in price. And the MACD indicator has made a higher low in its reading. Now, at best, all we can call this is a potential divergence. A lot of people new to trading get this wrong. And of course, in the level 1 program, when we get to fibs, we will talk lots about this. But the long and short of it here is this divergence is only confirmed when the MACD indicator gets up through this part right here. Or in essence, the indicator puts in a big W. So right now, at best, right, we've got potential Davos trying to come in. And we've got a potential bullish divergence trying to confirm. I think that this stuff is going to come in, and it is going to produce this rally. Why? If we go and look at, I'm a really big fan of the cycles guys. And I don't know whether you guys saw the tweet that I put out a day or two ago from the cycle study people. I used to watch, and anybody who takes any of the education programs, how much I love cycles. But I used to work with these guys back, even before the damn internet was around. I used to get their stuff in the mail. I tweeted out, and let's see where the hell it is here. It's a really cool image too. Hold on a second. It's got to be around here somewhere. Where are you? There you are. Way over here. Okay, so I tweeted out this image. And I know some of our audience, like Jeremy, are looking for new highs on Bitcoin. I don't know, guys. I'm not there. My whole thesis here is Bitcoin was supposed to act exactly like gold and silver did into their cycle peaks 20 years ago, or actually 40 years ago now. And really what I see out of Bitcoin was it just basically acted exactly as it was supposed to. Now, the interesting thing about Bitcoin and the good part about crypto, of course, is this built-in inflation. And some people call it deflation. But, you know, if I see that prices are rising over time, I'm going to call it inflation. Sure, everybody in the community is going to be all pissed off at me for that, but that's just the way that I look at it. So on balance, and if you've ever seen those really long-term logarithmic charts of Bitcoin, I think you're going to see higher prices down the road. It's just a question of maybe, you know, technically this thing's just gotten a little ahead of itself. I mean, let's face it, guys, and, you know, hopefully, you know, all of you journaled this. You don't have assets go from like $1,000 to $20,000 and just there's going to be no reaction. I mean, come on, guys. If anything, you should be able to look at those lows from last year, look at the highs, calculate 50% rules, and go, gee whiz, what a surprise. We're basically at the 50% level now. And then conversely, you know, and we used to do this all the time, looking at the weekly Bitcoin chart, we know if we want to invest in Bitcoin, we know exactly where we're supposed to be investing in Bitcoin. All right? Is there anybody here who does not know what the fuck a reload zone is by now? I sure hope everybody does. Obviously, you know, new people to trading and stuff. There's a lot of lingo. You're going to have to get up to speed. Go back and watch the Coinigy shows if you have to. Nothing has really changed here. This is extremely simple, and it's time-tested, and it works. So the point of the matter here, and how ironic, right? 78.6, Kvark, you know, I suppose Lepra Kvark kind of idea is all just basically where we were just even last summer. Gee whiz, guys, come on. So can we see some back and forth here? Sure. What I would really like, to be honest with you, is I'd like to see a nice little counter trend rally back up into reload short zones. And I'm probably going to let them have some more. All right. You know what would make me super happy was if we can just get these goddamn futures markets to list options. Because once that happens, then we can all just go really easily and lock in nice hedges, right? It's going to cost you maybe a couple grand, and we can just completely hedge out the risk of being long crypto. I am hoping, hope, that is basically what this counter trend rally from their cycle analysis. Can you see how their cycle analysis is suggesting that there was going to be a washout and a nice little counter trend rally back up into resistance zones? And if we look at, this is sort of what their forecast was back in December, and you can see this is basically what's happened since. And I'm looking for that counter trend rally, you know, reload shorts. I mean, nothing really out of the ordinary here. And as I said earlier, I'll be using that counter trend rally to both lighten up, because now we're up to about 10, 15 Bitcoins on the books again. So to lighten up on that kind of rally, you know, if the tether is still a concern to people, I don't have to go and just buy tether. I can buy some of that NBT. I could buy some of the GOLD. I really would like to see this space mature enough so we have some other alternatives. You know, we are planning on reorganizing TRI through the summer here. So I actually would like to actually take profits on this crypto portfolio. So I might even just blow it all out into cash and just send it back to the bank. Nothing wrong with that. Profit is a profit is a profit. But, you know, I don't think it's a good idea that we get sucked into the negativity and you're dumping on the lows. That just doesn't make sense, right? So I will be waiting for these reload zone counter trend rallies. And on that event, you should all fully be aware that Brian is going to be lightening up a bit. It's, just don't be shocked if you see that. Let's see, what else should we talk about here? So just finishing off that sort of seasonality cycle study. I don't know if it has to get this bad, right? This would basically be just a complete reset back down to Goldman Sachs's levels from last summer. Remember, is anybody, there are a lot of you here that were like, we watched it in real time. In fact, actually, I think Payman's here. Nice to see a Payman. But we used to have a gentleman on the site quite often, Roham, who his cousin was the girl at Goldman Sachs making the calls. And we all sat together and went, all right, she's made the call at 3,000. If you want to buy your Bitcoins, that's the level. And sure enough, woohoo. So ironically enough, I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually a flush right down to those levels. Gonna piss. Can you imagine, Bitcoin goes down to $3,000, $4,000 a coin. How do you think all those people that bought it like 18, 19,000, how do you think they're going to feel, right? And the worst part about it is, what do you think the sentiment in the community is going to be down here? Do you think people are going to be bullish? Or do you think they're going to be like, run for the hills, you losers? Yeah. Now, I found it fascinating, and I've told you this message, guys, from the beginning. I believe Bitcoin is basically going to finish 2018 almost exactly where it started. So you can get wrapped up in this, or you can just say, fuck it, I'm not going to get wrapped up in this nonsense. I really feel very, very comfortable that through, if we had just like blink, close your eyes, open them up, here it is, November, December, Bitcoin's going to be right back at 10, 12, $13,000 a coin. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. What I think we'll probably have to really do here is we're going to have to go into super spidey sense mode right in through here. This will be reload zones. We're going to have to watch volume, and we're going to have to watch price very closely through here. If we're lucky, right? You're going to sell at fib levels. I think so. Yeah. I'll probably like spoon feed. And we still have some orders working here, right? No, I don't think I'd go 50%. I might go like Mountain Man, maybe midpoint of RLZ, maybe a bit at 78.6, right? 50%, maybe that's a little bit low. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is if we go back to say like 2014, probably the best place to show you this is in our education programs. One of these pages. This is probably the best one to show you here. We have to now be very cognizant and watch for this kind of pattern. So I don't know whether you guys remember. I don't know whether many of you are even in this space back then. But this is the counter trend rally. And what's so cool in our level 1 program is we actually have a sell the rumor, buy the news event, China ban. And it's interesting how this is the same thing is happening with maybe Korea and stuff. And you notice June, right? So this bottom happened in like, March, April, May kind of idea. Then we had a big counter trend rally right back up into reload short zones. And this was on a US government auction, Silk Road auction. And then we put in this harmonic pattern. So this is what we're going to have to be really focused on watching for through this counter trend rally event. If we do harmonic like this and we do crap out, then my full hunch, guys, is we're basically going to be looking at this. And if we go back to the study of cycle, guys, keep this image in mind, right? And then look at this, right? So that's sort of, there's that harmonic pattern. And if we do roll over, then the other side of that harmonic pattern is this. Does that make sense, guys? Anyone? Okay. So the key here is this peak, and this is just what I'm thinking right now, right? This peak was like $600-700. And you notice that the bottom was basically about $200, or basically 1/3 of that level. So if we do crap out here, and like we've been talking about recently, it looks like this is like, you know, the 50% bounce level off of that stamp chart kind of thing was like 12, 13, 14,000 kind of idea. And if we use that same sort of logic, then what do we say, like, cut the market by 2/3. So, you know, if this number is, man, let's just pick a number, let's say 12, let's say 13,000, lucky 13. Then what is 2/3 of that? Well, that's going to be about 4,000, 4,500, eh? Does that make sense, guys? Now, here's the key. If you are a crypto enthusiast, right? Well, that makes sense, Gerald, too, right? So 20,000 peak, if you knock, what is, Gerald, what is the Kavarkinator level? Kavark is here, too. So is it a coincidence? Are those two numbers that you just posted, they're almost identical, eh? And now Joshua is going to be chiming in with his gaps. So the weird part about it is we can almost start seeing the future, right? As technicians, this is sort of our life, right? So the key here is we have to ask ourselves, right? And there's no, I'm going to type it in the lounge, or, how do you read this line? I don't know how you read this line. I can't tell you how you're going to read this line. But how you read this line is definitely going to affect how you look at this. There are some people, like I said, and especially through this, and I even noticed, even through this period right here, the sentiment in Bitcoin has gotten intensely bearish. It's quite shocking how quickly it changes, eh? I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if you went on like CNBC and stuff like that, and you said, "Oh, hey, yeah, you want a Bitcoin? I'm just giving them away." I bet you a lot of people wouldn't even take them. No fucking way, I'm touching that shit. That's just the way the market works. But the key here is when we get to this point here, how are you going to look at the situation? Is this opportunity is nowhere? Bitcoin story's over? Walk away? Get wrapped up in the FUD and the fear? Or are you actually going to step up and look at this as a buying opportunity? And you might actually, if you're really lucky, you might be able to double or triple your money extremely quickly. So understand, everybody, please understand, everybody. The markets are fluid, and this is an extremely volatile asset. We all know this. We also know technically we've come an awful long way. I think if anything, what has to happen here is now we have to go through a technical cleaning up process. It's going to take some time. Don't get me wrong. And actually, you know what we're going to find out here over the next, say, 6 months? We're going to find out who's actually, for real, I really want to be a trader. I really want to build and, run a business of trading and make money from trading. And we're going to find out the people that are just looky-loos. When it was running up here, oh, yeah, throw money at subscriptions, throw money at trading courses. But then when we actually have to go through the hard work of managing and just simply managing our emotions, making prudent decisions, taking appropriate risks, rinse and repeat, come to the office to run your business of trading, I would imagine probably a good 70 to 80% of those looky-loos that came running in here for the easy, quick money, they'll be gone. That's just absolute brutal reality. So you have to ask yourself over the next 6 months, and maybe even do yourself a favor, right? Do I really want to live this life? Is this the life I really want to live? If you're a basic site member and you're really not that interested in learning the process and learning how to act professionally and understanding that a lot of time as traders, we sit here and it's kind of boring. I think I've told you all the stories about Kevin and I sitting in the lounge, middle of February, hunting W's in the charts. Nobody's interested. It's dark. It's closed. It's dank. It's just markets in malaise. And that is when I learned that this Kevin guy is going to be a fucking killer trader, because he was there putting the time and the effort in, day out, doing his business. And I was so proud of him over that. And that's what it takes to succeed at this, guys. No doubt about it. Okay. Ooh, boy, that was a mouthful. Maybe even consider today's sort of session here just a big sort of, shot in arm of PMA. I don't know whether we necessarily need to be hunting too many aggressive trade ideas right now. I'll probably just finish off a quick comment here. Really pleased that Mike's sort of taking the bull by the balls with this RSP group. We have quite a blossoming little group. Invitation's still open for anybody who has done the level 1 program and would like to participate in our RSP TFSA group. The invitation's open. You're more than welcome. But please understand, if you do want to participate in this, you got to work. So we do want to see some ideas from you. I've left sort of the window for and I think what we probably ought to do is have sort of like maybe a once a month, every second Tuesday kind of thing, meeting. So if you are interested, jot your name down on the list. And of course you will be invited. And let's say, let's really build this as another sort of, value added tool on the site. And anybody, of course, who's in Canada, and we have RSP deadlines coming up here. It's in your best interest to save for retirement. And what's really cool is these models are just so fucking awesome. VCIM. I was talking to Mr. VCIM too. He wasn't really in the mood to get together today. So I'll just keep bugging him until I can buy him a cup of coffee. We'll see if we can get him to participate here. But my hunch is Chris is getting pretty old. I think it might be asking a bit much for him to come on, but we'll see how it goes. And let's see, what else do we want to talk about? I think very good probability that just like Bitcoin and the way Bitcoin has to now clean itself up, I think the stock market's going to go through the same thing. So I'm seeing just a ton of similarities between the 1987 market and this current market. There's lots of anecdotal evidence coming out of political figures that's exactly the same. As well, economic cycles, all that kind of stuff. These gentlemen do a really, really good job at painting the parallels. And of course, for a trader, you need volatility to make money. So, we can look to play this market on the upside. And the end of this video talks about a credit spread. Where you can basically try and take advantage of the melt up in the market. I'm really interested in trying to build a short position in options to take advantage of what I would consider to be an interesting opportunity on the downside. This also really fits in well too with the level oneers, in that they're going through sort of what do transitions from fear cycles to greed cycles look like. Usually we have to have a recession to sort of mark the end of the old cycle and the beginning of the new cycle. The 2000 recession was perfect. It completely destroyed the dot-coms. They all got, hey, does anybody here remember a company called Nortel Networks? It was a very painful experience to have to go through that unwinding. I would argue that the commodity sector, oil sector, to a certain degree, the gold and metal sector, to a certain degree, the POW story within crypto, I believe that they will have to go through their washing out period just exactly like the dot-commers had to go through the Nortel post, dot-com boom recession wipeout. And you hear lots of people on Twitter and, Facebook and stuff like that. In fact, Alex himself has even requested that we have a developer cycle for crypto. So insiders in the industry would like this space to go, into the cupboard for the next few years. We've heard lots of talk from, Ethereum people that the price of their token is too high. They don't like it this high. We have lots of anecdotal evidence about Bitcoin and the backlog of transactions, and how the idea of buying a cup of coffee with a Bitcoin is completely unrealistic because of the fees. So, it wouldn't surprise me if there has to be a nice washing out of the entire market. I got the feeling that 2018 is the setup year for this coming recession. And we know historically recessions love to happen in years that end in 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. We know it's coming. As kind of a fun side project for each and every one of you, if you want, go and look at what happens to humanity every time Jupiter and Saturn cross paths. And as a fun sort of side assignment, who can tell me when Jupiter and Saturn cross paths next? I don't think it's an accident. Everything here is just basically business as usual as far as I'm concerned. The question here ultimately is, how do we take advantage of this, right? Please understand, and if you'd like to join the group, you're more than welcome, that we are going to be working on building a plan to take advantage of what I would consider a coming, the recession. It's coming. And just a side note, usually stock markets like to fall 50% in recessions. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about the S&P getting its butt up to about 3,000, 30,000 on the Dow kind of thing. So if that's the case, then we're probably looking at maybe the Dow back to 15,000. And what's really interesting is if we actually pull up charts, you can see in 87, the market climbed up, and then the crash did nothing more than just brought price right back down into old support. So then we pull up our current year chart, and you notice, right, there is the run up and the previous support, and then the meltdown. And you can see basically there is the support zone, and here it is off of the ES. But off of the Dow, right, you can see that support zone. And if we zoom in on this, I think it's sitting right about 15,000 or so. Geez, I can't see that number. Oh, actually, here, why don't we go like this? Hey, there we go. 17,000, right? But you can see we overshot those lows, right? Ran some stops, yada, yada, yada. There's 15,000 right there. So, this is kind of what I'm starting to see. And I really do start to see this developing over the coming year. So be mindful of that. We are coming, and it sucks, right? Because, the one thing that I don't like about economies is as long as the public is feeling shitty, then the higher ups are happy, right? The 1%. What's really sad about these economies is that just at the point where the public is starting to feel good about life, maybe they got a raise at work, maybe they got a new job that they're really excited about, right? And things are feeling good, and, people around them are making money and we're feeling good. That's when the 1% says, all right, we got to start shitting on their parade. And that I'm really feeling that, right? And the sad part about it is to actually make money from trading, you actually have to have the discipline that while everybody around you is feeling really, really good, that's actually when you have to start thinking the other direction. And it sucks. It's no fun, but you got to understand that that's what I'm sort of thinking now. And especially with things like crypto, You know, I mean, I'd love for Jeremy's prediction to be accurate, and we just go up and blast the old highs and head to new highs. But this asset has done everything that anybody could have possibly asked for it out of this cycle. I mean, it's acted exactly the way gold and silver did. Could there be one more bump up top here? Sure, it's totally doable. But, you know, if you're asking Brian's opinion, and of course you know what Brian thinks of opinions, but if you're asking Brian's opinion, I think we have to clean this party up here. The cool part about it, like I said, is once they have cleaned this up, then they've hit the reset button. And then we can go right back to business as usual. And then, like I said, because this particular story, Bitcoin and a lot of these POW coins, they have these things called the halvenings. By definition, this thing has to rise over time. And it's really cool pulling up all of the like log charts and all those kind of things. You can see this whole pattern developing. It's in fact, I even put a tweet out. I was just like, you know, that's just poetic the way that it looks. Let's see if I can find that for you. That was a while ago. All right, so everybody's gonna be like, "Fuck, Brian just shit on us today." Well, that was a fun video. Thanks, man. But if anything, it's probably good that you just have somebody just sort of throw a cold bucket of water on you every once in a while, right? And just to go, okay, everybody, come on, let's just have a dose of reality, okay, please. So this was an image, this fractal fox gentleman. Good for you. Just ask Wim Hof. Haha. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's in reference to. But this gentleman here put out this chart, and my response was, damn, that's just poetic. Because everybody, this is a log scale of Bitcoin. And do you see how on a log scale, it sure looks like it's following this path? Everybody see that? It's pretty straightforward. It's not rocket science. But the key here is this is a log scale. So if we just have to come back to this trend line and play around with that, well, you have to understand that's $3,600 right there, right? These are huge numbers, but because this is a log scale, it doesn't really look that significant. And then, of course, you know, we talk about what are fundamental drivers? Is there like a fundamental driver looking forward to 6M Bitcoin, 6 million? Oh yeah, up here, sure. Well, because it has built-in inflation, it has no choice. It has to do this. But the problem here, Wayne, and this is the key to all this, remember, and all you level oneers, you should have be learning this right now. Do you understand that, yeah, maybe this is $6,000 a Bitcoin, but what the fuck is $1 worth? Maybe it takes $6,000 to buy one loaf of bread, right? And all you level oneers who just went through the strategic planning, that is the big message that you have to learn, is that something like the Dow, and it sucks, because what this really means is this is all fucking rigged. And it sucks because it is all rigged. But if we look at something like, where are we here? Show you this. It's a really important concept. Maybe we just leave off with this today. Oh, look, people are posting charts in the lounge. Let's see where I have it here, because I know I've given it to all you guys. Dow. Right, here we are. So, you know, all of you guys should be very familiar with this document, all you level one. In fact, everybody should, right? And what we have to understand here is, you know, as, you know, Bitcoin goes to 6 million, you might see the fucking Dow at like 150,000. But the problem here is, what you really have to understand is, as of this date right here, this mark right here, and do we have any current level oneers in here? Who's a level oneer? Joshua? Yeah, Jonas. Okay, good, O'Neill. Did you get that message from watching these videos? That as of this point right here, this thing that we're using to measure this asset is not the same. This thing over here has changed. And this thing over here that we use to measure is actually artificially manipulated. So as a result, you can have these nutso numbers where people go, 150,000 on the Dow? What are you, crazy? Well, you know, they're thinking about what's the dollar look like in today's terms. They're not thinking about what the dollar looks like in whatever this world is going to look like. Remember Dr. Pippa? You have to understand, everybody, this world here with $18 trillion of new liquidity injected into the system, it is not the same economy as over here. These are very different economies. And sadly, this thing is heavily manipulated just to make sure that democratically elected politicians keep their jobs. It's that simple, guys. So the good part about Bitcoin, right, and this is the good part about all of this, is you guys actually have a sort of built-in safety net with regard to this. You're very lucky, right, in that you could have gone and bought Bitcoin at 20,000 or whatever, 19,000 or whatever here, and if you just do nothing, you will see that 20,000 again, just because of the built-in inflation. But you might be sitting there for a while. I'm not going to argue that. And if anything, this is a really good lesson for all of you guys. What do you think is going to sort of mark all right, this is the end of this story, and now we have to think about the beginning of this story? Is there any sort of event that might be happening around here that would sort of correspond with, all right, we're done with the down, and now we start going back up? No? Think about Bitcoin in particular. Great part about it is you guys, we actually have built in, all right, time to hit the reset button. Well, there's that too, Daniel, but we won't go there, right? I'm not allowed to say that word. Happening. So let's see, did anybody get it? Wayne got it twice. So it sounds to me, Wayne, do you see the responses here? Ironically enough, you and I, we sort of consider this like, this is common knowledge. Everybody should know this. But the interesting thing is, at this point here, most of the public doesn't understand how this works. It's fascinating. I wouldn't have thought it. I would have thought, gee whiz, everybody should know what the halvening is and how the market works into these halvenings and stuff. But no, they don't. So if anything, Wayne, you actually see, look at this. Jonas is saying halvening on BTC. What the question mark? What the heck is that? Jonas, you got a bit of work to do. And if anything, what I would like from you, Wayne, is I would really like for you to be a mentor here. You need to actually, you know, I reached out and I tried to help you, and I think I've made a difference in your life, and all of you. I see one of my favorite students of all time just popped in here, Sebastian. You know, all of you guys. I see Kevin doing it all the time. I see, of course, you know, Garrett, fucking Garrett. Oh, God, I could kiss you, Garrett. The only problem is you're an old man. I don't want to kiss an old man. Benjamin with his scripts. I mean, the point here is everybody's got something that they can contribute to. Hey there, Sebastian. Shh. It's great that you tell me, and I'll add you to the list, but don't make that public knowledge, okay? But yeah, I mean, what the hell? If you're sitting on a pile of money, it makes life a hell of a lot easier, right? But the point here is I really need for you guys to help, right? The whole value of this site is that 1 + 1 = 3. And I need for us to all work collectively to change the world here. So Wayne, in a weird sort of way, you know, you may not even realize it, and I've told you guys this, and I tell all the people that pass the level 2 program, once you are at that stage, you are more knowledgeable than probably 80–90% of the people out there in the market. I mean, that's how powerful you are now as market participants. Yeah, easily, Rocker, easily, if not even more. Maybe like the top 5% of people in the market. And in a weird sort of way, you have a responsibility now. You have a responsibility to be, a good sort of beacon, to be a positive influence on this world. And the worst part about this, guys, is I know a lot of people that learn this stuff and they go down the dark path, right? And they become evil and very self-centered. And, there's certain political figures that I really resent and I don't like, because they go down that dark path of greed. So in a weird sort of way, guys, let's change the world for the better. I mean, that's why I'm here. You all need to realize that. That is why I'm here. This Nuts O'Brien guy. I'm here to change the fucking world. So if this stuff works, there's no doubt about it. Don't take too big of a bite on anything. Look at that. Somebody, Daniel's putting in a nibble-worthy idea. I love that kind of talk. All right, let's play from a position of strength. Let's identify why we act in the marketplace. Come up with some really solid rules. I act in the marketplace when I do this, right? When I see that. And then, of course, take appropriate risk. And we can all get stinking rich together, guys. We really can. So. All right, I think I'm going to leave the video at that today. It was a little bit more sort of PMA, bigger picture. I'm a little concerned that, we're going to go through a bit of a consolidation period here. I need people to stay positive. Let's try and work together. Let's identify the gaps. Let's identify levels, fib levels, Kvarks, leper Kvarks, whatever. There's lots of money. There will be lots of bull markets ahead of us. There's no hurry right now. If you want to trade bots, awesome, totally perfect. But, if those bots break down, you got to get the hell out. We're not in this sort of quote-unquote no-brainer buying window yet. If they do wash the market out here into the spring, we could be. And, of course, does anybody remember what is sort of the date that Brian's looking for to sort of mark the turn? Anybody remember? Gerald, you smarty. Ooh, look at all of you. Excellent. So we got quite a few people that know that date. Is that your birthday? You're born on pot day? Oh, well, just your birthday generally, eh? All right. So, I'll be looking for sort of the official kickoff to the summer season, probably somewhere, April-ish. So that means that just like we said before, Kevin and I, and probably a lot of the new people to the site are going to be losing interest. But I would highly encourage you guys, don't lose focus. Let's just, be nose to the grindstone. Let's hunt those W's. Let's hunt those divergences. Let's hunt location and just slowly accumulate here through the next month or two. That's kind of where my head's at right now. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. Got to head off and be with the boy. So you guys have yourselves an awesome rest of your day. All the best, and bye for now.